Hello, my dear friends. Welcome back to English in Fluency. I am so glad that you have chosen to be here with me today. Thank you for tuning in to this journey of learning and growth. My name is Alex, and I am here to be your guide, your friend in learning, helping you to practice and improve your English skills while we explore ideas that can genuinely make your life better, richer, and more meaningful. In this space, we talk about real-life topics, the kind of things we all think about, using English that is clear, simple, and easy to follow. So, if you are on the path of learning English, and you have a desire to boost your listening comprehension and build your speaking confidence, then you have found exactly the right place. I'm truly excited for our conversation today. Today, I want to talk with you about something incredibly important, something that touches every single one of us at some point in our lives. The topic for this episode is about a powerful decision. The decision to stop waiting for the right time. Because the perfect moment you have been waiting for is right here, right now. Think about it for a moment. Is there something you are waiting to begin? Maybe you dream of speaking English fluently. Or perhaps you want to find a new job that truly inspires you. Maybe you have an idea for a creative project that sits quietly in the back of your mind. Or a lifelong dream that you have always promised yourself you would follow someday. But you find yourself thinking, I will start later. I will begin when the time is just right. I'll do it next month. Does that sound familiar? Have you ever said those words to yourself? I know I certainly have. More times than I can count. It's a very human thing to do. So many of us wait, and wait, and wait. But that perfect someday never seems to arrive. And so, we never start. This is more than just a small problem. It's a dream stealer. This topic is so critical because a huge number of us have been taught to believe that we need a perfect set of circumstances to begin anything significant. We wait for the right day of the week, a Monday, a new month, a new year. We wait for the right mood to strike, when we feel motivated and energetic. We wait for the right situation to appear, when we have more money, more free time, fewer problems. But I want to share a simple truth with you today. A truth that can set you free. The perfect time almost never comes. It is a myth, a beautiful story we tell ourselves to feel safe. Life is beautifully, and sometimes frustratingly, imperfect. There is always a reason to wait. There is always something that isn't quite right. Something that can be used as an excuse to stop us. That is precisely why learning to let go of this idea is so liberating. You do not need the perfect time. You only need to start. Yes, even if you feel a little nervous, or a lot nervous. Even if you feel in your heart that you are not 100% ready. Starting now is infinitely better than waiting for a forever that will never arrive. In this episode, we are going to explore this powerful idea together, step by step, piece by piece. First, we will take a much closer look at what people are truly saying, what they are truly feeling, when they say the words, I'm waiting for the right time. We will uncover the hidden fears and beliefs behind that simple phrase. Then, we will dive deep into why this idea of a perfect moment doesn't really exist in the real world, and how understanding this is actually wonderful news for all of us. After that, we will look at the real, tangible ways that waiting can harm us, how it causes us to miss out on precious opportunities and build up regret. We will also explore the incredible, life-changing power of starting now, even in the smallest, most humble way, and how those tiny first steps can lead to the biggest and most amazing results. And finally, I will share with you some very simple, very practical ideas and strategies that you can use today, right after you finish listening, to take your very first step. It doesn't have to be a giant leap. It just needs to be a beginning. So, are you ready to learn with me? Are you ready to take one small, powerful step today? I promise you, you are not just going to learn some new ideas. You are going to actively improve your English by listening carefully, by understanding the flow of natural speech, and perhaps even by speaking some of these sentences along with me. Let's begin this journey together. Welcome to this episode of English in Fluency. The perfect time is not tomorrow. It's not next week. The perfect time is now. So, let's start at the very beginning, with a phrase we hear so often, a phrase we might even say to ourselves every single day. I'm waiting for the right time. What does this phrase truly mean? When we peel back the layers, what are the real feelings, the real fears, hiding behind those words? Why do we convince ourselves that we need a special, perfect moment to start something that is deeply important to our lives? When a person says, "I'm waiting for the right time," they are usually communicating something deeper than a simple scheduling issue. They are expressing a feeling of not being ready in the present moment. They feel that some crucial element is missing. Perhaps they believe they don't have enough time in their busy schedule. Or they don't have enough money saved in the bank. Or they lack the physical energy to begin a new challenge. Or, and this is a very big one, they don't have enough confidence in their own abilities. They hold on to a belief, a hope, that someday in the future, all of these missing pieces will magically fall into place. They imagine a future where things will be easier, where life will be simpler. And then, finally then, they will start. They believe the future holds a better moment, a perfect moment, a moment free from problems, free from fear, free from stress and complication. But here is the gentle, and sometimes difficult, truth. That moment is a fantasy. That moment rarely, if ever, comes. So many people hold on to beautiful dreams and important goals, but they keep them locked away, on hold. For example, think about someone. Let's call him David. David has wanted to get fit and healthy for years. He imagines himself running in the park, feeling strong and energetic. But every morning, he tells himself, "I'll start when the weather gets a little warmer." When summer arrives, he says, "It's too hot now. I'll start in the autumn when it's cooler." Autumn comes, and he says, "I'm so busy with work. I'll start after this big project is finished." Before he knows it, winter is here, and he says, "It's too cold and dark. I'll definitely start in the spring." David is always waiting for the perfect season, the perfect conditions. But the real reason he waits is that he's afraid. He's afraid of the discomfort, afraid he might fail, afraid it will be too hard. There is always a reason to wait. But the longer we wait, the heavier the dream becomes, and the harder it feels to even begin. Our minds become experts at waiting, experts at making excuses, and after a while, we might even forget the passion we once had for the dream, Or we stop believing it's even possible for us. Let's think more deeply about why people wait. One of the most powerful reasons is fear. This is a huge factor for almost everyone. People are terrified of making mistakes. They are afraid of what failure might feel like, or what other people might think of them if they fail. They are afraid to look foolish, to feel awkward, or to step outside of their comfortable, familiar zone. This is incredibly common when it comes to learning a new language like English. I have spoken to so many learners who say things like, "I will start speaking English when my grammar is perfect," or "I will join an English conversation group when I know at least 5,000 words." But can you see the problem with this way of thinking? The only way to improve grammar is by using it, by making mistakes, and learning from them. The only way to learn more words is by practicing, by speaking and listening. The more we wait to become perfect, the less we practice. And without practice, we cannot improve. So the fear doesn't get smaller. It gets bigger and bigger. The dream of speaking English confidently feels further and further away, almost impossible. Another major reason people wait is a condition we can call perfectionism. Perfectionists want everything to be absolutely perfect before they start. They need the perfect plan, with every single step mapped out. They need the perfect tools, the best books, the best apps, the best notebook. They need to be in the perfect mood, feeling inspired and motivated. They need the perfect situation, with no distractions and endless free time. But real life, as we all know, is messy and imperfect. Things go wrong. Unexpected events happen. Plans need to change. Some days we feel tired or unmotivated. Our lives get busy. We just don't feel ready. But that is completely okay. Life is not about being perfectly ready all the time. It is about learning and adapting as we go. We don't need to be perfect to start. We just need to be willing to begin, even when things are not 100% ideal. Sometimes, people also wait simply because they believe they have an infinite amount of time. They have a relaxed attitude, thinking, "I can always do it later. I have my whole life ahead of me." But time is tricky. It moves much faster than we think. Days slip into weeks. Weeks turn into months. And months become years with shocking speed. And then, one day, we look back over our shoulder, and a wave of regret washes over us. We ask ourselves, "Why didn't I start earlier? Look at all the time I've lost." This feeling of regret is one of the most painful human emotions. It makes us wish we could turn back the clock, that we had used our time more wisely. That is why it is so important to remember that our time on this earth is not unlimited. Every single day is a new chance, a new opportunity to do something, even something very small, that moves us in the direction of our dreams. Now, let's talk about how this habit of waiting for the right time can actively stop us from living the life we want. When we are in a state of constant waiting, we are not taking action. And when we don't take action, absolutely nothing changes. It's a simple formula. We remain in the exact same place, thinking, planning, dreaming, wishing, but never doing. This creates a powerful feeling of being stuck, as if we are trapped in mud. We feel like we are not growing, not evolving, and that can lead to deep feelings of unhappiness and frustration. It is like sitting in a beautiful car, with a full tank of gas and a clear road ahead. but you never turn the key in the ignition. You have the vehicle, you have the destination, but you never begin the journey. Furthermore, waiting can do serious damage to our self-esteem. It can make us feel like we are not good enough, that we are not capable. We start to tell ourselves negative stories. Maybe I just can't do it. Or, maybe I'm not strong enough or smart enough. But this is not the truth. The truth is that everyone, and I mean everyone, has the power within them to start. Everyone is capable of taking one small step. But the more we wait, the more we listen to the voice of doubt in our minds. Doubt becomes a comfortable habit, and it is incredibly difficult to move forward when we do not believe in our own potential. So, if you have ever found yourself saying, "I'm just waiting for the right time," I invite you now to stop and think very honestly. What are you really waiting for? What specific things would need to happen for the moment to feel perfect? And is that moment realistically ever going to come? Or is it just a convenient excuse to delay your dream, to avoid the fear of starting? Here is something powerful to remember. There is no such thing as the perfect time, but there is a real time. And that time is now. The only way to change your life, your skills, or your confidence is to begin. Even if your first step is tiny, even if it's imperfect, even if you feel scared. Taking one small step today is infinitely more powerful than waiting for 10 perfect steps tomorrow. So now that we have a better understanding of what waiting for the right time really means and how it can hold us back, let's move on. In the next part, we will explore in more detail why the perfect moment is a myth, and why that is actually the best news you will hear all day. Now that we have explored why so many of us fall into the trap of waiting for the right time, let's look directly at a fundamental truth. The perfect moment does not exist. I know that this might sound a little bit negative or disappointing at first, but I promise you, it is actually the most liberating and empowering news possible. It means we can stop waiting. It means we can give ourselves permission to start right now. We don't need to keep searching for something that isn't real, like a treasure on a map that leads nowhere. We can begin this very moment with exactly what we have and exactly who we are. Let's be completely honest with ourselves. No time in our lives is ever completely 100% perfect. There will always be something that is not quite right. Maybe you're very busy with work or family commitments. Maybe you're feeling tired and low on energy. Maybe the weather isn't what you'd prefer. Or your daily schedule is packed and chaotic. Maybe you have other worries or stresses on your mind. Life is a constant flow of small problems, daily challenges, and unexpected events. This isn't a sign that things are going wrong. This is normal. This is simply what it means to be alive. If we decide to wait for a time when everything in our life is perfectly aligned, we will always find a reason to delay. The perfect moment is not something we discover or find, like a lucky coin on the street. It is something we create. We create it by taking action in an imperfect moment. Take a moment right now to think about your life as it is today. Is everything perfect? I'm quite certain the answer is no. But has it ever been completely perfect in the past? If you wait for a time when you feel 100% ready, with zero stress, zero fear, and zero distractions, I can tell you with great certainty that you may be waiting for the rest of your life. There will always be noise and chaos around us. There will always be things that are completely outside of our control. That's why the best time to start something important is usually not when we feel perfectly ready. The best time to start is when we make a conscious decision to begin, regardless of the circumstances, no matter what. Also, it is crucial to understand that challenges are a non-negotiable part of life and growth. No matter what you choose to do, you will face some form of difficulty or obstacle. Even if you wait for what you believe is a better time, that future time will arrive with its own brand new set of problems. Let's imagine you decide not to start practicing your English speaking skills today because you are too busy. Okay, maybe next month you will have more free time, but perhaps you will get sick with a cold. Then, the month after that, maybe you will have to deal with unexpected family issues or financial stress. The problems and challenges in our lives change their shape and form, but they never completely disappear. If we keep waiting for a problem-free life to begin our dreams, we will never, ever move forward. Many people operate under the illusion that later will be easier, but that's very often not true at all. In fact, in many cases, later is much harder. As we get older, we naturally have less energy than we did when we were younger. Our motivation can fade if we don't act on it. Our responsibilities tend to grow, not shrink. We might have children, a mortgage, more demanding jobs. Life becomes more complex, so starting now, while the idea is fresh and alive in your mind, while the passion is still there, is often the wisest and most effective thing you can do. Even if the step you take is incredibly small, it does something magical. It puts you on the path. It creates momentum, which is a force that helps you keep going. It begins to build a habit. And as you will see, habits are among the most powerful forces in our lives. Let me give you a very relatable example. Something you might know very well. The journey of learning English. Millions of people around the world want to speak English more fluently, but a large number of them never make real progress. Why? Because they don't begin. They say things like, "I'll start my studies when I have more free time," or "I'll practice speaking when I feel more confident," or "I will finally join that class when my job is less stressful." But the days turn into weeks, the weeks into months, and nothing changes. Because life is always busy. There is always something else that needs our attention. But the learners who make real, noticeable progress are the ones who make a different choice. They are the ones who stop waiting for the perfect moment and start doing something, even just a little bit, each and every day. You don't need a perfect, color-coded study plan. You don't need to speak like a native speaker from day one. You don't need a full hour of uninterrupted free time every day. You can start with just 5 or 10 minutes. You can listen to a short podcast like this one while you are commuting to work. You can read a few sentences from a news article in English. You can practice speaking a few phrases out loud to yourself in the mirror. It does not need to be a big, dramatic, perfect action. It just needs to be a real action. One small, imperfect action is far more valuable than a lifetime of waiting for the ideal conditions. Here is another important thing to consider. Sometimes, we use the idea of the perfect time as a clever excuse. Deep down inside, We are simply scared to start. We are afraid of failing. We are afraid of feeling uncomfortable or awkward. So, we tell ourselves a nice, logical-sounding story. I'm just waiting for the right time. It sounds so responsible and reasonable, doesn't it? But often, it's not the real truth. The truth is, we're avoiding the hard part, the very beginning. And that is okay. It is perfectly normal. We are human. It is natural to feel this way. But the only way to move past that fear is to start anyway. To act in spite of the fear. The wonderful news is that once we take that first step, things almost immediately get easier. We feel a sense of pride in ourselves. We feel stronger and more capable. We begin to build real, authentic confidence. We realize that the perfect moment was just an idea, a ghost in our minds, and we never really needed it at all. What we needed, what we always need, is action. So please, remember this. The perfect moment does not exist. There will always be a reason to wait, an imperfection, a challenge. Life will always be busy. But you do not need a perfect day to start. You just need today. The power is in your hands, not tomorrow, not someday, but right now. In the next part of our conversation, we will discuss something very serious. How waiting too long can actually cause us real harm. We will see how time slips through our fingers when we don't use it, and how missed opportunities can slowly turn into heavy regrets. So, please stay with me. We're just getting started on this important journey. Now, let's talk about something that many people prefer not to think about. At least, not until it's too late. Let's discuss how the act of waiting can actually hurt you. Yes, you heard that right. Waiting, procrastinating, putting things off. It can feel safe in the short term. It can feel easy and comfortable. When you're waiting, you don't have to face your fears. You don't have to do the hard work. You don't have to risk failure. But this feeling of safety is an illusion, and waiting has a very high price. It doesn't protect you forever. In fact, it slowly and silently takes precious things away from you. Things like opportunities, time, and your own self-confidence. One of the biggest and most painful things we lose when we wait is opportunity. Every single day of our lives is filled with new chances, new possibilities. There is a chance to meet a new person who could change your life. A chance to learn something useful that could advance your career. A chance to grow, to speak up, to move forward, and to improve yourself. But if you are always in a state of waiting, you might miss these chances completely without even realizing they were there. Opportunities are not patient. They don't wait for us to feel perfectly ready. They appear for a moment, and then they move on. And if we don't grab them, you can be sure that someone else will. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine there was a free online English workshop with a famous teacher. A fantastic opportunity. But you looked at it and said to yourself, maybe later. I'm just too busy this week. A few weeks pass, life goes on, and you remember the workshop. When you check the website again, you see the words, "This course is now full." You missed it. The opportunity is gone. Or maybe a friend of yours, who is also learning English, invited you to join a local English-speaking club that meets every week. But you felt nervous and insecure about your speaking skills. You said, "Not yet. I'll go next time, when I'm a bit better." But next time turns into the time after that. And soon you stop thinking about it at all. These small moments might seem insignificant on their own, but they are the hinges on which the doors to big changes swing. When we constantly say, "Not now," we are the ones closing those doors. We are actively stopping our own progress. Another incredibly valuable thing we lose is time. Time is arguably the most precious resource we have. It is the one thing you can spend, but can never earn back. Once a moment is gone, it is gone forever. When we wait for the right time, we often waste not just days, but weeks, months, and sometimes even years of our lives. We tell ourselves, "I'll definitely do it next month." But then, next month arrives, and it quickly turns into next year. And during all that wasted time, we could have been learning, growing, practicing, or becoming better at the very thing we dream of doing. Even if you only commit to doing a little bit every single day, that effort adds up and compounds over time. But if you do nothing, then nothing changes. 0 plus 0 is always 0. And when we finally wake up and realize that we've lost those chances and wasted all that precious time, we are left with something even worse. We are left with regret. Regret is that heavy, sinking feeling we get when we look back at our past and think, "I should have started earlier." Or, "Why didn't I just do it when I had the chance?" It's a deeply painful and sad feeling. It doesn't just hurt in our minds. It feels like a weight in our hearts. Regret makes us feel like we have failed ourselves, like we have betrayed our own potential. And tragically, we cannot go back in time and change the past. All we can do is learn from that painful feeling and choose to act differently in the future. Let me tell you a short story that illustrates this point very clearly. There was a man named Michael. He had a lifelong dream of moving to an English-speaking country, like Canada or Australia, and working for a large international company. He knew that, to achieve this dream, he needed to speak English fluently and confidently. He often told his wife and friends, "I'm going to start learning English properly next month. I'll sign up for a good course very soon." But every month, a new excuse would appear. His job was too demanding. His children needed his help with their schoolwork. Or he just didn't feel ready. He felt that he wasn't in the right mindset. Well, 10 years passed by in a flash. One day, while browsing online, he saw a job advertisement. It was the perfect job, the exact kind of position he had been dreaming about for over a decade. But as he read the requirements, his heart sank. The job required excellent written and spoken English skills. And Michael, after 10 years of waiting, still hadn't started learning. He was filled with a deep, bitter regret. Not just because he had missed out on this one specific job, but because he had allowed so much time, an entire decade, to pass by without even trying. He said to his wife that night, "If only I had started 10 years ago, just 10 minutes a day, I would be ready now." Now, this story is not just about Michael. It happens to millions of people in millions of different ways. We think we are saving our energy or staying safe by waiting. But in reality, we are losing far more than we are gaining. We lose the chance to grow and evolve. We lose time that we can never get back. And we lose the feeling of progress, which is so essential for our happiness, our motivation, and our self-confidence. The simple truth is this: doing something, even something small and imperfect, is almost always better than doing nothing at all. Even if it feels hard, even if you're not sure you're doing it right, Taking action gives us valuable experience. It gives us feedback. It gives us results, good or bad, that we can learn from. Waiting, on the other hand, only gives us more fear, more doubt, and eventually, more regret. So, if you have been waiting to do something important in your life, whether it's mastering English, starting a new project, or making a significant life change, I want you to ask yourself these questions right now. What will I lose if I continue to wait? What opportunities might I be missing out on this very day? What might I look back on and regret 5 years from now? You don't need to take a massive leap. Just take a small step. Open the English book. Watch the educational video. Join the online group. Speak that first sentence out loud. Your future self, the person you are becoming, will thank you for it. In the next part of our podcast, we're going to shift our focus to something much more positive and exciting. The incredible benefits of starting now. You will see just how powerful small actions can be, and how starting today, even if it's just for 5 minutes, can be the beginning of a whole new chapter in your life. So far, we have talked a lot about the negative side of waiting, about why it doesn't help, and how it can even hurt us in the long run. But now, let's turn a corner and focus on something much more exciting and empowering. Let's talk about the incredible benefits of starting now. Yes, right now. Today. Not tomorrow when you feel more rested. Not next week when your schedule is clearer. Not next year when you've saved more money. Starting now, even if you feel completely unready, can change your life in ways that are both powerful and profound. You don't need to make a grand gesture or a monumental move. You don't need to be perfect. You simply need to begin. Let me explain exactly why this is so critically important. First and foremost, you learn by doing. It is as simple and as true as that. Reading books about a skill, watching videos about it, or just thinking about your goals is helpful. But it's only preparation. The real, deep learning only happens when you get hands-on experience. When you take action, you will inevitably make mistakes. And that is more than okay. Mistakes are not a sign of failure. In fact, they are your greatest teachers. Mistakes provide you with direct feedback, showing you what works and what doesn't. They help you learn faster and more effectively than anything else. Think about it in the context of learning English. You can study grammar rules from a textbook for hours every day, memorizing every single rule. But the moment you actually try to speak to someone, that is when you truly begin to understand the language. When you form a sentence out loud, when you use a new vocabulary word in a real conversation, when you write a short email or message in English, you are learning by doing. That kind of active, experiential learning stays with you in a way that passive learning never can. Also, and this is a huge benefit, when you take action, you build real confidence. So many people wait because they don't feel confident. They think, I'm not ready yet, or I'm not good enough to start. But here is a secret that successful people understand. Confidence does not come before you take action. It comes after. Confidence is a result of action, not a requirement for it. Every single time you do something new, especially something that feels a little scary or uncomfortable, you prove to yourself that you are capable. You become stronger. You start to believe in yourself a little bit more. That is how genuine confidence grows. It's just like building a muscle in your body. The more you use it, the more you challenge it, the stronger it gets. You don't need to feel brave before you take the first step. You just need to take the first step, and the feeling of courage will follow. Another incredibly important benefit is that small, consistent steps lead to massive success over time. You do not need to take huge, overwhelming actions every day. In fact, small actions are often far more effective. Why? Because they are easier to start. They take less time and energy, and they are less intimidating. This makes it much easier to build a consistent habit. Imagine you want to improve your English. If you decide to study for 3 hours one day, but then you feel exhausted and don't study again for a whole month, you won't improve very much. But if you commit to studying for just 10 or 15 minutes every single day, you will make steady, noticeable, and lasting progress. Small steps, when repeated consistently over time, create enormous results. This is the power of compounding. Let me share a quick story about a woman named Chloe. She had always wanted to improve her English speaking skills, but she was terrified. She didn't know a lot of words, and her heart would beat fast, and she would feel nervous whenever she had to speak. One day, she got tired of waiting and decided to try something very, very small. She found a podcast for English learners and decided to listen to it for just 10 minutes every morning while she was drinking her coffee. That was it. No big commitment. Then, after a few days, she started pausing the podcast and repeating some of the sentences she heard out loud. After just 1 week of doing this, she noticed that her listening skills were getting slightly better. After 1 month, she felt confident enough to say a few simple sentences to a colleague at work who was a native English speaker. After 6 months, she was having basic conversations. All of this incredible progress started with just 10 minutes a day. That one small, manageable action completely changed her relationship with English and, in turn, changed her life. The beautiful thing about starting now is that it creates momentum. Momentum is a physics term, and it means energy that keeps an object in motion. When you do something once, it becomes psychologically easier to do it a second time. One small action leads to another. One small victory gives you the motivation and energy you need to keep moving forward. The hardest part of any journey is almost always the very first step. But once you take it, you will feel a sense of pride. You will see a small amount of progress, and you will want to keep going. It's a positive upward spiral. Starting now also helps you feel more in control of your own life. When you are taking action, you are no longer a passive victim of your circumstances. You are not waiting for life to happen to you. You are an active participant. You are in the driver's seat. Even if you don't reach your final goal today or tomorrow, you know that you are one step closer than you were yesterday. That feeling is incredibly powerful. It makes you feel alive, engaged, and purposeful. You are not just thinking about your goals anymore. You are actively living them, day by day. So, what can you start today? It does not have to be something big. You can listen to this podcast one more time and repeat 10 sentences out loud. You can write 3 simple sentences in English describing your day. You can learn 5 new English words and their meanings. You can find a friend and agree to speak with them in English for just 5 minutes. These actions are so simple, but they are incredibly powerful. And most importantly, they are possible to do today. Remember, there is no perfect time. There is only now, and now is enough. Now is powerful. Now is the beginning of everything. The decision to begin, even in the smallest way, is what separates the people who only dream from the people who actually do. And I know, with absolute certainty, that you are ready to be a doer. In the next part of this podcast, I am going to give you some extremely practical tips. We will talk about exactly what you can do today to begin your journey, even if you're busy, even if you feel nervous, and even if you have no idea where to start. So, keep listening. Let's keep this positive momentum going. You are doing a fantastic job. Now that we have talked about the immense power of starting now, you might be thinking to yourself, "Okay, Alex, I understand. I'm convinced. But what should I actually do today? Where do I begin?" That is an excellent and very important question. And the answer is refreshingly simple. You do not need to make a huge, life-altering change today. You don't need to clear your entire schedule and spend hours studying or working on your goal. You just need to take one small, manageable step. Something real, something possible, something that moves you forward, even if it's just by a single inch. So, let's talk about some very simple, very practical actions you can take today. Yes, today. Not next week when you feel less tired. Not next month when you have more free time. Today, the very first thing you can do is to set a tiny, achievable goal. A major reason people don't take action is that their goals feel too big, too overwhelming. They want to become fluent in English. They want to get their absolute dream job. They want to start a successful business from scratch or move to a new country. These are wonderful and inspiring goals. But they are huge, and huge goals can feel intimidating and scary. They can make us feel so small that we don't even know where to begin. So, instead of focusing on that massive final result, I want you to break it down. Ask yourself this simple question. What is one tiny thing I can do today that will get me just a little bit closer to that big goal? For example, if your big goal is to speak English fluently, your small goal for today could be to listen to this podcast and write down 5 new words you learned. That's it. Just 5 words. Or, if your goal is to improve your pronunciation, your small step today could be to record yourself saying 10 English words and then listen back to the recording. Small goals are incredibly powerful because they are easy to start. They are not scary. And completing them gives you an immediate feeling of success and accomplishment. That positive feeling is the fuel that helps you continue tomorrow and the day after that. Another essential tip is to start with what you already have. So many people wait because they believe they need more resources. They think they need to buy expensive books, subscribe to a fancy app, or have more knowledge before they can begin. But you don't need anything extra to take the first step. You already have enough right now. Do you have a smartphone? Of course you do. You can use it to listen to podcasts like this one. Watch educational videos on YouTube, or even record your own voice speaking English. Do you have 10 minutes of free time? Maybe while you're waiting for the bus or during your lunch break? You can use that small pocket of time to read a short article in English or write a few sentences in a notebook. You don't need perfect tools. You need to make a firm decision to use the tools that are already all around you. Also, remember to connect your actions with your English practice. This is especially important for you, right now, because you are listening to English in Fluency, and your goal is not just to learn about life, but to actively practice your English at the same time. The wonderful news is that you can do both simultaneously. Let's say your goal is to become more confident when you speak English. You do not need a formal classroom or a private tutor to practice. You can simply talk to yourself while you are walking down the street or doing chores at home. Describe what you see in simple English sentences. I see a big green tree. The tree is very tall. There is a small brown dog walking near the tree. It might feel a little strange or funny at first, but I promise you, it is real, effective practice. You can also start keeping a very short journal in English. Every night before bed, write 3 to 5 sentences about your day. They don't have to be complicated. Today was a busy day. I worked a lot. I feel tired but happy. This is a fantastic way to build your writing skills, practice grammar, and grow your confidence. You can also use your favorite hobbies and activities to learn English. Do you enjoy listening to music? Find a song in English that you like? Look up the lyrics and try to sing along. Do you love watching movies or TV shows? Watch one with English audio and English subtitles. This is an amazing way to connect the sound of a word with how it's written. Do you enjoy cooking? Find a recipe video on YouTube from an English-speaking chef. You will learn new words for food and kitchen tools in a fun and natural way. Learning doesn't have to feel like a chore. It can be enjoyable and engaging if you connect it with your real life and your passions. And here is one final, crucial tip for today. Repeat your small action tomorrow. This is the secret ingredient. Don't just do it once and then stop. Do it again. And again. That is how powerful habits are formed. One small action is good, but doing that same small action every single day makes it incredibly powerful. It becomes an automatic part of your daily routine, like brushing your teeth. And the more you repeat it, the easier and more natural it becomes. Let's do a very quick review of what you can do today. First, set one tiny, achievable goal. Second, use the tools and resources you already have. Third, practice your English in a way that connects to your real life. And fourth, make a promise to yourself to repeat that small action again tomorrow. You do not need to wait for the perfect mood to strike. You don't need to feel super motivated or inspired. Just take that one small step. And if that step still feels too big, make it even smaller. That is perfectly okay. The goal is simply to move, not to be perfect. You are already doing something incredibly important just by listening to this podcast. You are not just thinking about improving. You are actively learning. You are taking action. And now, I want to challenge you to do one more thing. Right now, as you are listening, choose your small step for today. It can be anything. Say one sentence out loud in English. Write one thing you are grateful for in English. Teach a new English word you learned today to someone else. Whatever it is, do it today. Please remember, the future you dream of is built by the small, consistent actions you take now. Not later, not someday, now. And you are so ready. In the final part of this episode, I am going to leave you with a motivational message to help you carry this energy forward. Let's finish this conversation strong. We are now coming to the end of our time together in this episode. But before we finish, I want to speak directly to you, from my heart to yours. I want you to hear these words clearly, and I truly hope that you will carry them with you long after this podcast is over. You are capable. Yes, you, the person listening to my voice right now. Maybe you don't feel ready. Maybe you have a voice inside your head that tells you that you're too late to start, or you're too busy, or simply not good enough. But let me tell you the absolute truth. You are ready enough to begin. You do not need to be perfect. You do not need to have your entire life figured out. You do not need to wait for some magical, imaginary time in the future. You just need to believe, deep in your bones, that your small actions matter. Because they do. They matter more than you can possibly imagine. All around the world, at this very moment, millions of people are waiting. They are waiting for the right time to arrive, the right feeling to strike, the right situation to magically appear. But while they are waiting, the clock keeps ticking. Time keeps moving forward, relentlessly. Opportunities appear and then vanish. Days melt into months, and months into years. And slowly, quietly, their beautiful dreams begin to fade, like old photographs left out in the sun. Please, do not let that happen to you. You are listening to this podcast right now for a reason. There is something inside of you, a spark, a desire, that wants more from life. You want to grow. You want to learn. You want to do something meaningful with your precious time on this planet. And that desire is incredibly important. It means you care. It means you are already one huge step ahead of all the people who have given up and chosen to do nothing. So here is the one message, the one idea, that I want you to take with you today. The best time to start was not yesterday, and it is not tomorrow. The best time is now, this very moment. Today is not a perfect day. Maybe you are tired from a long week. Maybe your schedule is completely full. Maybe you made some mistakes this week that you're not proud of. But you are still here. You are still listening. You are still trying. And that, my friend, is incredibly powerful. You do not need a perfect day to do something meaningful. You only need to make one simple decision. The decision that says, I will take one small step today. Think of this process like planting a tiny seed. When you place a seed in the ground, you don't see a giant tree the next day. You don't get to eat the delicious fruit the same afternoon. But you plant that seed anyway. Because you have faith in the future. You believe that something small and seemingly insignificant today can grow into something magnificent and great tomorrow. And you are absolutely right. So, what is your small step for today? What is your seed? Maybe you will repeat a few of your favorite sentences from this podcast out loud. Practicing your pronunciation. Maybe you will write a short paragraph in your notebook in English about how this episode made you feel. Maybe you will finally open that English book that has been sitting on your shelf, or send a short message to a friend in English, or simply stand in front of the mirror and introduce yourself in English. It does not matter how small your action is. What matters is that you do it. By doing it, you are sending a powerful message to yourself and to the universe. You are saying, I am not waiting anymore. I am doing. I am moving. And every single small action brings you one step closer to your goal. The more you take action, the more confident you will feel. The fear will begin to shrink, and your belief in yourself will grow. And soon, maybe sooner than you think, you will look back at today and say, I am so incredibly glad that I started when I did. So I encourage you, I urge you, right now, don't just finish this podcast and go back to your old routine of waiting. Do something today, even if it's just for 5 minutes, even if you don't feel ready. Just start, because starting is the action that changes everything. I believe in you, and more importantly, you must start to believe in yourself. You have the ability to learn, to grow, to speak English more beautifully, and to make your life better. One day, one word, and one small, courageous step at a time. You are not alone on this journey. I am here with you. This podcast, English in Fluency, is here to support you, to encourage you, and to help you practice your English while you learn how to grow as a person. But the ultimate power to change, that power is in your hands. So go now. Take that small step. Speak that one sentence. Write that one word. And believe in the incredible power of now. Thank you so much for spending your valuable time with me today. I know you have many things to do in your busy life, and I truly, deeply appreciate that you chose to listen to this episode of English in Fluency. I hope that it gave you a dose of motivation, a feeling of hope, and some clear, practical ideas that you can begin to use in your life right away. Today, we talked about something so important: the decision to stop waiting for the right time. We explored how the idea of a perfect moment is just a myth, how waiting can hold us back and create regret, and how even the smallest actions taken today can lead to the biggest changes tomorrow. And most of all, I hope that you now feel more confident and more ready to take your next step, no matter how small it might seem. Remember, this podcast is not just for passive listening. It is designed to be a tool for active practice. So, I invite you to listen to this episode again. Maybe this time, you can try to pause after some of my sentences and repeat them out loud. This is a wonderful technique to help you improve your pronunciation, your rhythm, and your overall speaking fluency. You could even write down some of your favorite sentences or ideas from our conversation today and use them to practice your writing skills. If you found this episode helpful or inspiring, I would be so grateful if you would share it with a friend. Perhaps you know someone who is also learning English, or someone who just needs a little bit of motivation to start pursuing their own dream. Learning together is a fantastic way to support each other and grow as a team. You can even talk about the episode after you both listen. Ask each other questions like, "What was the most important thing you learned?" Or, "What is the one small step you are going to take today?" And please don't forget, learning English is not just about memorizing grammar rules and vocabulary lists. It is also about building the right mindset, a mindset of courage, consistency, and self-belief. That is what English in Fluency is all about. It's about learning the language while learning about life. So, please come back again for more episodes. Each one is carefully created to help you grow your English skills and grow your personal confidence at the same time. Thank you once again for being here with me. I am genuinely proud of you for showing up today, for listening, and for taking steps towards your goals. You are doing so much better than you think. Until next time, keep learning, keep moving forward. And always remember, the best time is now.